What is up, guys? Welcome to the ThinkComputers weekly tech podcast. This is episode 277. And before we get into our podcast, or who our podcast is brought to you by, I want to say hi to my co-host, Ryan. What's going on?
Not much. What's going on? Finally, we had some really hot weather, and then it cooled off and rained the other day. So
it
kind of
actually
not on edge.
actually rained here in southern San Diego
That doesn't happen
yesterday.
very often, right?
Well, there's apparently a major drought or something. But it like 2 days, one day it will just be cloudy, and then the next day it's sunny. But yesterday and today, it actually rained. Not enough rain to make the ground wet, but it did rain. So it's not like a real rain. It's not like the rain you're used to, or it's not an East Coast rain, where it rains all day. But it did rain per se. So
all right, well, that's good.
But our podcast, of course, is brought to you by Amazon, and the reason why I didn't say that initially is because this past Monday and Tuesday was Amazon Prime Day.
Yeah.
And we had a list. I scoured Prime Day deals, and I think we had over 100 items that were actually on sale. And I was looking for stuff to buy for myself, and I don't know if you use or anybody else out there uses one of these plugin or extensions or plugins for your browser. I use one called Honey.
I've heard that's really good, to get really good deals.
I use it to track, so it tracks the price of an item on Amazon over time. So a lot of these, because I've been looking at buying dressers and stuff for the house, you know what I mean? So I was like, I was like, oh, this is a Prime Day deal. And then I go on Honey and see that it was a lower price. And then the day before Prime Day, they bumped the price up so they could say it's 30% off, or something like that. But there were a lot of really good PC hardware deals, at least even on CPUs. Most CPU deals were 15% off, which is something CPUs never go on sale for the most part. Although last year they did. AMD really did a good job last year, but this year, not so much. But a lot of Intel CPUs were 15% off, which is really good. Lots of storage deals. SK Hynix had both of their SATA based drive and their NVMe drive. I believe Samsung drives were on sale. Externals were on sale from both Crucial and from Crucial, Samsung. A couple other WDs were on sale. There was a lot of hardware stuff. Monitors. The Samsung G9 was discounted from $1,200 down to $899 or something.
That's a pretty good discount. Wow.
I know one of my buddies actually picked it up. And there was a couple 49 inchers that were decently good deals. So there were deals to be had in the tech space. I want to know if you picked up anything for Prime Day at all.
I didn't get a chance to. No, I had to go into work early on Monday, and I was just swamped with a project that had to take all my focus that day. So I just didn't even get a chance to look, unfortunately. Yeah. So not that there was anything I really needed. I think we talked last week about, is there anything you need or you're looking forward to? And I was like, I can't really think of anything at the moment anyhow. So,
Yeah, I obviously, I get hardware sent to me and stuff, and I have so much hardware here. I didn't get anything hardware wise, no TVs. I had thought about getting a second TV for the new place, but no TVs. There were some not great TV deals, but there were some kind of mid-range TVs that were decently discounted. I picked up a new Echo Dot because my original one, I have an OG original that just the speaker is just going bad. So I was like, they're half off, today I'm gonna pick that up. And then I take protein in the morning after my workout, and this one protein was on sale. It was $7 off. It's normally $20 for the tub of protein, but it was discounted down to $12. And I was like, I'll buy 5 of them because I'll just, but then you couldn't stack it. But then I found out if I just do separate orders, it allows me to do. Yeah. So and what's crazy is they're actually separate orders. So when you order 2 or 3 things during the day on Amazon, they put it all in the same box. No, right. like 5 different boxes with 1 tub of protein showed up at my house.
Oh, that stinks.
So yeah, so that was basically all I really ordered.
Okay.
I ordered a sweatshirt, an Amazon Basic sweatshirt, which was half off. I was like,
just try it out.
Yeah, see what's up. But that was basically it. I didn't really see like these insanely great deals, and Amazon has not updated their Fire TV sticks, which I use. They haven't updated them as far as like specs, like processor or anything like that. So I would like to pick up a newer streaming device, but I'm in like the Amazon ecosystem anyways. It just makes sense to, so no update.
Maybe they'll have something for like Black Friday or something, an updated unit or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So I did see a decent amount of home stuff for sale, but nothing that I needed. So
yeah. Do you want to like reset your audio device? Also, you've been crackly, so I don't know if you're like
really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Remember what happened last time we reset it and it really messed up?
It did?
But yeah, I think. But I mean, I can unplug it and plug it back in.
I don't know.
Let me make sure. What do we have here? Let me.
What you got? Yeah, it's just kind of crackle popping.
It's set. NVIDIA broadcast is set. So okay, I'll be back.
All right, he's gonna reset this. Hopefully, this doesn't blow everything up. We'll find out here in a second. Dead air. It's great for a podcast.
All right, what about now?
You're back. We'll see if it crackles. Okay. I mean, it hasn't yet.
Might be my connection. Do you think it would be my connection?
Your physical like XLR connections or your
internet? Like my internet connection.
I don't know. I haven't noticed it with your video. Like I haven't noticed any like stuttering or anything.
One thing that I have noticed. So this computer. So you're working and then you like I go make lunch and I come back and my computer will be off or it will be in its sleep state, and I'm like, what the heck?
Like gone for very long. Yeah.
No, not that. It's that I always run my system at high performance, like in the power settings.
So it shouldn't even. Yeah.
And it's reverting it to balanced for some reason.
That's weird. Yeah, you're still kind of crackly.
I don't know
what else it could be.
Yeah, I wish. I mean yeah, everything
run outside of NVIDIA broadcast, I guess, but
I don't think it's NVIDIA broadcast.
Okay, it may not be. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, let's we'll do one more thing here. Let me change my
live
audio
here.
Yeah, so NVIDIA broadcast. So we'll change this to now. How do I sound?
You sound the same. So we'll see if it continues to crackle.
Let me know if it crackles. So sorry if you hear any outside noises then. If I do crackle, I'll just move back to NVIDIA broadcast, but everything should be,
checking those cables.
Yeah, I mean, I can check this one behind here if I don't spill my monster.
I haven't noticed the crackling yet. So
okay. Well, maybe it is NVIDIA broadcast. I did update my graphic drivers the other day.
Okay. And you're using the full broadcast suite. You're not just using RTX voice.
Correct. So. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let me know. Yeah. We'll we'll get into it. So let's jump into what this podcast, of course, is about instead of Amazon Prime and us trying to troubleshoot my mic. Yeah. My mic, of course, this is tech stuff. And if you guys did want to follow along, we do have our full show notes page that has everything that we'll be talking about. Not a ton of news this week, but we still have some pretty cool reviews and some other stuff to talk about. So starting off, I have done another Z590 motherboard review. And this is one board that I saw initially, and I was like, I want to review this for a couple reasons. So this is ASRock's Z590 Taichi. And one, I've been a fan of Taichi boards since they've come out. The whole idea behind the Taichi brand from ASRock is that they try to give you as many features as they can, at a decent price. It's just basically a fully loaded motherboard. And they've done that here with the Z590. So on this board, you are going to get everything that you would expect from the Z590 chipset. That includes, Thunderbolt 4, PCI Express 4.0, USB 3.2 Gen 2x2. They've also outfitted this board with killer networking on both the Wi-Fi and the 2.5 gig LAN. So you have killer networking there. You also have a 1 gig LAN. If you look at the rear I/O here, you have 2 of them. So you have all of that. The only thing, a couple things that are kind of weird about this board is, one, I really don't like this. I mean, the design is all right, but it
looks like is it like a textured plastic? It almost looks
a little.
I don't know.
I don't know if they were trying to do like a leather, but it's textured plastic. So it's like, it's not my favorite overall design there. You do have of course, the gears, which the Taichi brand is known for. And what's really cool is this top gear actually moves. And I have a quick video that I want to show you guys that shows that. And it is pretty cool when you see it. So I'll go ahead and play that video now. Let's see here. Turned our sound up so you guys can hear it. And I have my Z590 test bench, and the motherboard that I have on here is ASRock's Z590 Taichi. Now, if you're familiar with their Taichi boards, one of the coolest things is they've always put these kind of like clockwork gears on the board. There's one here and there's one under the graphics card, which you can't see, but the one up here has such a really cool feature, and it's a feature that I've wanted on these boards for so long. Here, I'll go ahead and turn the system on. And you can see that it actually moves. How cool is that? Now, it doesn't move all of the time. You can set it for different intervals. So the lowest interval is 5 minutes, then you go 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and I think 60 minutes, something like that. You can see it just does that little movement, and then it stops, and then every 5 minutes it will do that movement. But super, super cool. So yeah, what do you think about that?
I think it's cool. I wish it'd be cool if you could do it like every 60 seconds as opposed to like 5 minutes being the minimum. But who knows what that longevity of that part in there is, right?
Yeah.
What's the cost to make that a long lifetime part, right? And does it just make sense to limit the amount of use? Probably, I'm guessing, is why they haven't.
Yeah, I'm not sure why there is a limit or how that goes. But it's you just set it in the BIOS. Cool, you can set the duration, or not the duration, you can set the interval in the BIOS, which is pretty easy. So it's definitely one of the coolest features of this board. But again, like I said, this board has pretty much everything. You have three M.2 slots. The top one, just like all Z590s, is Gen 4. The bottom 2 are Gen 3. Yeah, like I said, I really like this board. 14-phase power design, it's 12+2. And then, one thing I like about this board.
Do you want to pull your page up?
Oh yeah, let's pull the page up. Cool. One thing I like about this board is that there is no weird power limits. Like on a lot of these Z590 boards that I've reviewed, when you go to overclock, you reach your power limit that's set in the BIOS, and you have to go in the BIOS and change it. Here, everything is set to the max, which is really good, which means they know that their power delivery components can handle it. They're using 90 amp power stages with a total of 1080 amps for the CPU, which is a lot. So it definitely can handle overclocking. It definitely, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever right there. The one weird issue that I have with this board is right here. And this is the top M.2 slot. And then you have your CPU and CPU optional fan headers. They sit right here. And the issue there's two issues that I have with this. One issue is that when you have a graphics card installed, you're not going to really be able to access these at all. Secondly, is that I'll show you when you do have, your CPU cooler installed, if you're using an air cooler like I am with 2 fans and you have your Y cable here, it's just a mess. It's usually. Why do you
think they put that there? It's always along the top.
Yeah, I don't know, because there's definitely room along the top.
That makes no sense.
I mean, if you look at the actual top part of the board, let's find a picture here. Like here, I mean, there's ample room. They have an RGB header here. You could have put them here. You could have put them here. You could have even put them over here. I don't know why they're there. That's really the only issue that I have with this board. Everything else works fine. Their BIOS is great. One of the actual better BIOSes and easy to navigate BIOSes out of all of the out of all motherboard brands, really. They do a great job there. Like I said, I really didn't run into many issues with that board besides that placement of those two headers. This is an expensive board. It's actually, I think it's a $90 premium over the Z490 version of this. It's $459, which is not cheap. But you are getting full Thunderbolt 4. You are getting USB 3.2 Gen 2 by 2.
Killer networking.
Yeah, killer networking on both the wireless and the Ethernet. It does have like the metal armor on the back of it as well, which helps with stability as well as cooling. You have that gear that moves, which can you put a price on that? It's just a cool feature. There is RGB lighting, which I didn't mention. The RGB lighting it's probably, again, I think ASRock does RGB lighting might be the best if you're looking for not like crazy, but it's just like just enough. They're still doing the front like the edge here. So when it's
I do like that.
Yeah, not like a bunch of companies went away from this. We saw pretty much everybody doing it last couple generations of motherboards, and now ASRock's one of the few that are still doing it, and they do it well because a bunch of companies just put like RGBs actually on the board itself without anything else. Here, what they've done is they actually added diffusers, so the light it's much more. It looks a lot better. So I really like that as well. So like I said, it's a good board. It's an expensive board, but it's fully featured. It has every feature that you would want in the Z590 chipset. A lot of other boards are cut down. Some of them cut out the Thunderbolt 4. Some of them, won't give you 3.2 Gen 2x2. Some won't have Wi-Fi. Some won't have 2. As you go down, you're going to lose a lot of those features. So I gave this a 9 out of 10. I do think you're going to enjoy the board. You're going to enjoy that gear, but it is expensive. So just definitely, keep that in mind. So yeah. So
you finally got the moving gears, right? Like,
yeah, no, that's something that I was like every time
have to like keep up with it almost.
Yeah, well,
because you would see them and you'd be like, "Is this gonna move?" No, maybe one day.
Well, that's what we always said is every time I reviewed one, I was like, if these gears moved, it would just make things better.
Yeah.
And I guess this is a start. And you're right.
Sure.
I think that they have to, if you take that feature out on the next generation, like,
Right. Unless there are like some real issues that they have to like work through. But
it would be interesting to see like long-term, again, how that part in there, like, could it break? We don't know, so we'll definitely have to see. And then I took a look at this little guy right here, which of course is another portable.
Of course it is.
SSD.
It's a little different than others though.
Yeah, this one's a little different than others. Well, one, it's a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2. So good. All of the previous ones that I reviewed over the past year pretty much have been USB 3.2 Gen 2. This is Gen 2 by 2. And you might be getting confused. And I don't blame you because the USB IF, that's the people who make the specification and naming, they're idiots. I've said this so many times, is that these people make no sense because we had it fine. We had USB 2, then we had USB 3, then we had you had USB 3.1. And then they decided to make USB 3.1, USB 3.2 Gen 2.
Gen 1. I don't even remember now.
There
were so many iterations for so long that
they messed up the naming and it's so confusing. And Gen 2x2, like maybe tech people understand that, but like most people are like, what? But anyways, this is a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 drive. So again, like I said, last year or the past year, most drives would max out around 1,000 megabytes a second. These new drives will max out around 2,000 megabytes a second. So essentially, you're doubling your speed, which I love as a digital content creator or somebody. If you're playing games off this, if you're watching media, like just faster speeds is amazing. So again, 2 gigabytes per second you're going to get out of this drive, which is awesome. Of course, as you can see the picture here, we have RGB lighting. So when you plug this in, there's 2 little strips of RGB. Here, I'll just go to the pictures. I think, what page are they on?
See,
yeah.
Something that bugs me though about this, and I saw it on the previous page where you're showing like the accessories, is that short cable, and it's so stiff, probably, right?
Mm-hmm.
I hate that.
That's how all of these. I've never
the
seen
short cables are. Yeah, there's never a flexible one.
Yeah, well, one is because these are portable drives, so they assume you're using this on a on a laptop.
Yeah,
so
it's just sitting next to you, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and
anyhow,
yeah, you just buy another one if you but yeah, but anyways, so we have RGB lighting. This top section, as you can see, like right here, it's just like a little plastic reflective deal. But when you plug it in, RGB lighting comes up, and there's 2 sets of RGB banks on each side, and they just do kind of like this rainbow wave type deal. Pretty cool, but there's absolutely no way to control it or turn it off, which could be annoying to some people. Yeah. No way to control it. They're just on all of the time. Anytime you plug this thing in, RGB lighting is going to be on. So that's something you're either going to love or not. But as I said, with speeds, I mean, if you look at these speeds, this thing's fast. I mean, it's a super fast drive. No issues with any of our testing. It ran right up to the specifications pretty much. Just a super fast drive. Oh man. Like I just like in the past year, we doubled speeds. Like that's awesome. This is, if we actually look at it, like it is a little bit bigger.
Oh, yeah.
It is a little bit bigger than I
think that's due to like maybe some heat dissipation or something.
Yeah. So here's like their USB like 8, or this is 8. Oh, they're both 8. Okay. So here is one that's like, this is USB 3.2 Gen 2, and this is USB 3.2 Gen 2x2. There is a lot of like this is metal. So except for the top here, all of this is metal. Like the back is metal, and this is a heavy drive. Like this thing feels like nothing compared to this. It is big, but you can put it in your pocket. It is definitely pocketable for sure, but it's just not tiny like this guy, as you can see. Gotcha. So that's kind of the only real, like I said, this and not being able to control the RGB lighting are like the 2 things that I would change about this drive, but it's very affordable as well. This one is $159.99 for the 1 terabyte for this speed. I like it. No software, nothing like that. Just a plain old drive, but I like it. It's a super fast drive. It's just, again, it's a drive that you can use for pretty much any digital content stuff. You're going to transfer files incredibly fast, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Cool. Definitely check.
It doesn't have any like weatherproofing or anything, does it? I mean, that's not its like main.
Yeah, I don't believe it
selling
does.
point by any means. So
yeah, I don't believe that it does. So that moves us to Case Mod Friday, and this week we have a build from a guy who just likes building. He's not a professional. I just saw this in a Facebook group, one of the Facebook groups that I'm part of, and I think this build is really cool. It is a desk build from a guy named Jeffrey Voss. He's in a bunch of like the pretty big PC hardware groups, and he just shared this build. And this is a desk build, like I said, which he has done. It's called Redwood MK2. And the thing I like about it is that he keeps with the theme of like the redwood, and like the liquid coolant is, kind of like this darker color. He has put in an actual screen into the desk as well, which I think is cool. just makes for, like I said, like a really cool. I mean, you can see that that's not his main screen. Obviously, he has a nice curved screen here, but just everything that he's done here is pretty awesome. And here's a better look at the water cooling stuff going on. Cooled, looks like Alpha Cool stuff actually. Now that I look at it, Alpha Cool cooling, and I don't know if this is Alpha Cool, but yeah, just a lot of, like I said, really cool stuff.
He's got a whiskey running through those lines, right?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I
keep
kind
with
of
the
like
wood
that.
and
Yeah. Yeah, and he does have like a little thing of whatever that is. You know, on the other side there. But like again, not like a professional build, but I think that it's just pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
That's about as, you know, like you're well on your way towards becoming a, you know, a recognized builder, or more towards the professional line when you start doing builds like this, I think.
Yeah, and what was cool, you know, I because every time I see a build I like on one of these groups, I always try to like find the person and all that stuff. And somebody even asked him in the comments, they're like, "Oh, are you a professional builder? Like, I'd love to like, you know, follow your page." He's like, "No, I just like building stuff." Like,
all right,
yeah, so that's like pretty cool. You know, it's just, you know, and here's what the, you know,
I like the design of that table, the legs, and he's even got a footrest down there. It looks like.
Yeah, very cool. I don't know if he.
Those Noctua fans look right at home in this build too.
Yeah, they do. And that's the thing, is that Noctua fans typically don't look right at home on much of anything.
Unless you get their black ones,
Yeah, so very, very cool. And like I said, his, you know, his holder for his pens is wood and all that kind of stuff. It's just very, very cool.
Notice in that shot, he's got like a felt mouse mat.
Yes.
It looks like on one of the others, it was more of a smooth, but I did like that look of the felt mouse pad. I think that looks pretty sweet.
I don't know what that
SSD. It says SSD, low, mid, and high. So is that like drive activity? I wonder if he hooked up a meter to the. I bet that'd work.
I don't know. That's pretty cool though.
Huh.
Well, I can message him on Facebook, but yeah, really cool stuff. Definitely, like I said, definitely check this out. Again, we always feature builds every week in our Case Mod Friday section. So lots of cool stuff there. But it's, like I said, it's cool to feature somebody who's like, most of them are like from professional builders that we know or that we find. And this is just a guy who built something that I think is really cool. And I would love to have a desk like that. You know, very cool stuff. Also, another reminder, we are having our summer gaming essentials giveaway with Viper Gaming. That's Patriot's gaming line. We're giving away one of their Viper V380 gaming headsets, the Viper V765 gaming keyboard, and the Viper V570 blackout gaming mouse. I tried to explain this last week and I totally messed up. 3 separate prizes. So somebody gets the keyboard, somebody gets the headset, and somebody gets the mouse. Super easy to enter. 12 days left on this one. Do it all through Gleam. Just get your entry in. And yeah, let's just kick off.
And that mouse is nice. Like I reviewed it a couple years ago here, and yeah, it's got a ton of buttons on it. It's nice and comfortable.
And I didn't review the headset, but I tested it at CES, and it is very comfortable. And I have to say, the RGB lighting on it like looks pretty badass. So like if you have this sitting on your desk, or you're gaming, like even though you're not going to see it if you're gaming, like the RGB is done very, very well. So yeah, get your entry in for that as well. In the chat, we have Kosher. What's going on, man? I was just telling Ryan before we started that I was talking to you earlier in our little bat cave of all of us people. And he said, Bob always rocking that fresh cut. It's not that fresh. I mean, it might look fresh
last week.
It's not very. This is like
I got mine yesterday or Monday.
This is like 3 weeks in, or maybe 4 weeks in, actually.
This is always so skin.
When I first get it cut, I look really good, and then like, because again, it's like a thing where you like yeah. But anyways, what's going on, Kosher? Good to see you here. If anybody else is in the live chat and wants to chime in, definitely go ahead and do that. That brings us to news this week, and as I said earlier, not a ton of stuff going on, but we have since we wrote this article, there is Kosher with the $20. We'll have to get a drink on him. Thank you, bro. Yeah. Appreciate that for sure. So Intel DG1, which is like their developer board that they kind of put out, CyberPower PC is offering a PC with it in it. I think we talked about that last week, did we not? Or a couple weeks ago?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
So they're offering a PC with this because like Intel isn't selling this card or anything like that.
Right.
You know, so a YouTuber by the name of who is this? ETA Prime bought the system, which was only like because we talked about it was like only like $750.
It was very affordable. I remember that.
Yeah, and he in his video he put it through the tests, and then since then, like I think Gamers Nexus bought it and got it. A couple, like a bunch of people have had their time with this card now. It's not great.
Do you want to pull it up again so we can see it?
Oh yeah, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Kosher got me all excited with the tip over there, so I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, so it's not. This card is a developer card to like test the architecture. It's not, even though CyberPower is putting it in their systems.
That is so funny. You're like, hey, we got to get GPUs from somewhere.
Well, that's the thing, and a lot of people were talking in our Discord. One guy was like, "Yeah, all I can find is that GT730. I can't find anything else in stock." So if you want to check out what this card can do, again, this is Intel's first discrete GPU. Really, like I know they had one like 15 years ago, but I mean, this is their first current GPU. Check out the video; it doesn't do great. This it's like similar to like a mid-range GPU from the 2012-2013 era. So not something that you're really game on that much, but it is interesting if you want to follow Intel's I guess their development.
I mean, it's a start. Yeah,
it's a start. So like I said, check that out if you want to.
And man, that's an ugly heatsink.
Yeah. And Kosher in our chat said, haha boys, missed ya. Yeah, we were talking literally before the podcast. We were like, man, we haven't seen Kosher in a while. So good to see you here in the chat. Yeah, good stuff. Talking about graphics cards, AMD has officially ended support for their Radeon 200, 300, and Fury series cards. This doesn't mean they're not going to work. It just means that there's going to be no further updates for those cards. So this not only included those cards, but it also included the 10-year-old Radeon HD 7000 series and HD 8000 series. So yeah. And Fury only came out in 2015. Do you think that's a little early to end support?
That one does. I was surprised to see that Fury was included on this. I feel like though, like that architecture just like came and went, right? Like passed us by real quick. So maybe that's why.
I was so excited for Fury, especially like the mini.
Oh, I remember
the mini. Yeah. I was like, man, I want that. It's gonna be so good. And then, nope. I think it was just like how like Apple does like their events, and like AMD did like had their big thing, and I was you're watching it, you're like, man, yeah, I'm so excited, and then you're like, it's done, so like I said, no more support for those cards. They still will work, but just no future updates. So some people were really upset about that, but I mean, you can't expect them to.
You can't support everything forever.
Yeah, for sure. Also talking about graphics cards, EK has come out with these really cool. This would match that build that we just saw pretty well. This is their special or Lingam. Am I saying that right? Lingam edition RTX 3090 and 3080 walnut covered water blocks. I mean, these look awesome.
Yeah, I mean they've had some wood products before, and they do look pretty sweet.
Yeah.
They're pretty high end. I think these would look good in like that InWin is it the A1 that had the wood top option? That would look good paired up in there, I think.
I think was it Mods by Ben Q? Didn't he have a wood themed build recently too?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that these would be perfect in it. Kind of because a lot of times those guys make like the custom top, and like this would just solve that. But I think people, I do think, I mean, just like that build we saw, a lot of people do like that wood theme, and you know, they're not necessarily like that great at making things or whatever, and this just solves that problem, I think. I mean, they just look great. Like these look awesome.
Yeah, and I mean to get wood, like to get nice cuts like that and beveled edges that don't look wavy because you're hand sanding them, right? That takes some pretty decent woodworking tools and a lot of investment, like from that side. So if you have woodworking as a hobby and PCs, all right, you might be able to do it. But I can't just go to Home Depot and grab my skill saw and some sandpaper and make that, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think these look awesome. They're going to be decently expensive. $349.90. That's euros. So would that be
still expensive?
Yes, it's still expensive for a water block, but I mean it's the full water block, and I guess this is just a top, like that's just a covering over what would be, you know. So like I said, still very cool. I'm a huge fan of that. Definitely something different for sure. Talking about different stuff, we haven't talked about crypto in a while, it seems. And I don't know how relevant this board is. But ASRock has announced their H510 Pro BTC Plus cryptocurrency mining board. It's going to be $279.99. As you can see, it does not fit a traditional form factor. This is made strictly for cryptocurrency mining rigs. I love seeing these because they're just so ridiculous looking. Like it's just this massive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6
built for one purpose, right?
Yes.
Like okay, so it has what a single memory stick looks like.
Yeah, right there.
It'd be interesting to see somebody build throw this on a test bench or build a gaming rig with it, just to see like if it's even possible to do anything with it, because it probably has like 1 or 2 SATA ports on it. I'm guessing it's got Ethernet, a display output. I don't know. I think it'd be kind of funny.
Yeah, it'd be very, very interesting to see. But yeah, these are really big, well, not as much over here. And again, with like crypto kind of in the dump right now, this isn't as popular. But again, you can still, I mean, if you're at a place, there are places like when I lived in, like I thought about, you know, because I was running crypto mining rigs in Pennsylvania, but then I moved to California and I was like, yeah, power is way too expensive here. It's not worth it. But I mean, I was turning a profit. So, you know, definitely. And I would have turned more of a profit with this because I would be using far less power than what I was. Because again, I could run a ton more cards on this than I was, you know, what I was running it on. So pretty cool stuff there from ASRock. And then what else do we have this week? So this case, I believe I first saw this case in 2018 at CES. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It was like, yeah, this is just a concept that we're working on. I'm pretty sure that's what they said. But they finally released their Odyssey X, which is this massive aluminum case. Oh, I don't know if it's the outside is aluminum. The interior shell is steel. But it's just this massive case, and it's pretty cool to see because again, I remember seeing this like years ago at CES.
I think you're right. I think I do remember seeing that my first year there. We like Lian Li was at the end of the day one day. I think maybe my first day there, and we were just getting there. And yeah, I saw this, but they also had the 0111, which I think stole the show. Most everybody's attention. It hadn't been released yet, but yeah, I think I remember seeing this too.
Yeah, because they were like, because it's kind of like just. I think when we first saw it, it just looked big and clunky, and it wasn't really. It didn't have the fit and finish that you're seeing in these photos, obviously. Yeah. But they're finally bringing this to market. And Corsair said the front has no airflow. There is these open up like these things. Let me go to the product page because I thought that too initially. Let's see. So yeah, so you see how those open up like, or wait, that's the top. Okay, maybe they don't.
Didn't you have a way to rotate that's what I thought it was
yeah, like you could
modes, you can rotate it around to get intake on the front.
Yeah, so there's performance mode, dynamic mode, and dynamic rotate mode. There's all that, like this is one of those cases that you could run so much stuff in, which I really like. but again, we always say with these big cases this is $499, which I think isn't horrible for actually what you're getting, but like you need to be running something like either crazy water cooled build or multiple GPUs or like something where you're really going to take advantage of everything. I think,
systems just look weird in these massive cases unless you're doing like these big loops in them.
Yeah.
It gives you a ton of options.
These panels sort of like tilt open a little bit to provide airflow. You can kind of see it right here. They're like tilted open. Let me see if I don't think they have a picture of like that.
That is kind of nice because
right here you can see that.
Like, I could take a side panel all the way off, right? Or something like that. With this, you don't have to take a panel off and worry about it getting broken or scuffed up. It just kind of pops open and allows for some more airflow.
Yeah, so you can see that there, where like these kind of pop open, which is kind of cool. Yeah. And you can see how the airflow works. Pretty cool. This was developed in conjunction with DeBauer, which he helped. There's like a DeBauer edition of the O11 dynamic, correct?
Correct.
So he helped with that as well. Cool guy. So like I said, pretty cool. Again, I would not recommend buying this unless you have a pretty insane build plan, just because, you're just going to like, it's a lot of, $500 for a case is a lot. It's a lot of money. But this does look pretty cool. So yeah, pretty cool. And like I said, it's just really cool to see something that we saw so long ago finally become a product, because all the time at CES, companies would be like, here's our secret room where there's things that you can't talk about. And then we like with a lot of these companies, we see that product like 3 years later and you're like, wow, it's been in development for that long. Pretty cool. Really,
it's surprising because there's some cases where you're like that and you see it years ahead and then it finally releases, and then there's some things and trends that seem to make it through to everybody so fast, so you wonder, like, did word get out that I was working on this type of feature, so we're gonna try and come out at the same time with them so they don't gain all the market share? What I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but it's interesting.
Yeah, and then Kosher said they're pricing it with the Corsair 1000D. Yeah, I think the 1000D is really designed more. I mean, I guess you could do pretty much anything in that case as well, but that case has massive storage potential, where this does have a lot of room for storage, but not like the 1000D does. 1000D just has a lot, and it has tons. I think it definitely has more room for water cooling as well. So yeah. What else we have? Talking about Corsair, and they announced 3 new AIOs, and this is your realm, Ryan, is the AIO realm. So they announced H55 RGB, H100 RGB, and H150 RGB. Those are 120, 240, and 360 respectively. What do you think about these? Is there much of a difference in looks wise compared to the last generation?
Yep. A little bit. So these are a little more rounded on the corners there,
like
on
right
the
here.
block, which I think this looks better than the previous version. The previous version was just more squared off angles. It looks all right, but I do like these rounded look. The previous version also, you could pop the top off and kind of swap it out for like a different look. I'm not sure if this comes with that same setup. Right here, it's got kind of the black background with the cutout Corsair logo on there, but past that they didn't look too like much of a refresh.
Gotcha. It is really hard, and I know Corsair is one of those companies that just like, and as soon as they have something new, like maybe this block design or the top was new, they're like, okay, this is the new one, because I think for AIOs, like a refresh cycle should be like 3 years.
Yeah, they release them all the time.
Yeah,
you see somebody else's stuff, it's the same thing. And I guess it's all right. It's keeps them innovating.
The fans are their SP120 Rgb Elite Fans. Those might be new. Maybe the fans are new too, just a different type of fan. They use air guide technology, it says. So but again, if you're in the Corsair ecosystem, I am. All of my Corsair stuff. These do look pretty nice. So yeah, I don't know if they mention pricing. No, they don't. But I mean,
It
typical.
should be pretty affordable.
Yeah, pretty affordable, and of course they're going to work with IQ and all that kind of stuff as well.
Yep.
So, pretty cool stuff there. And so this is a really interesting story, and it makes you wonder that like maybe Microsoft like isn't really updating Windows 10 all that much anymore because we have Windows 11 coming out. So we talked about it last week. The ISO leaked, right? And people are, I mean, why wouldn't you want to test Windows 11, right? A lot of people have been testing it, different stuff. And the interesting thing is a lot of people are testing Windows 10 versus Windows 11. And in most cases, running the same hardware or running like normal hardware, desktop hardware. Tests have been around the same as far as performance goes. But a big difference they saw is in the newer processors, the big, are you familiar with like the big little CPUs where you have one big core and then 4 smaller cores?
Right. And depending on what type of workload, it kind of shifts between those.
Yeah. So these type of big little systems, there are some out there. And Hot Hardware, our friends over at Hot Hardware, they tested this out and they actually found that there is a performance increase comparing Windows 10 to Windows 11 on the exact same hardware. So it makes you wonder: is Microsoft, like this integration or however those cores interact with the OS, are they not adding that to Windows 10 and they're just
gonna just hold off and make that a feature of 11? I can see them doing that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But I mean, at the same time, you have such a huge install base for Windows 10. Why wouldn't you want to push that feature? Unless you're going to be charging. I mean, so many people got upgraded from 7 to 10 at essentially no cost.
Yeah,
that maybe they're going to implement a cost from going to 10 to 11. So
do you think
they want to charge for those features?
That's the really interesting thing. Is I was thinking about that. I was like, so we have a new operating system coming out. Are we going to get a free upgrade like we did for Windows 7?
I don't know.
And how is that going to work exactly? Is there going to be tiers? Is like, again, if you think about when did Windows 10 come out?
2015.
So in that time, since 2015, a lot has changed. A lot has changed with subscription models. I mean, Office has gone to a monthly subscription model. All that stuff. Is that what we're going to be doing now? Like, how is this going to work? It's going to be interesting to see.
That's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, it just makes you think about Windows 11. I'm kind of excited to try it. You always like that kind of like new install. You're like, oh, this is nice and pretty and not like messed up like my version. Like we were like, I was talking about how my system keeps on going into balance mode under my power mode. It's like, why is it doing that? I always set it to high performance. And then maybe it's when I update Windows, it just goes back to balance mode, but it shouldn't. Like, I don't want my PC to go into balance mode.
Why are you making this change for me?
Yeah. And I really don't think balance mode works that great with high-end desktop systems because it just doesn't like prioritize the cores correctly, I don't think, or I don't know.
We were talking about this at work the other day about how, talking about going from one OS to another and just thinking of like how many people are out there with like a PC that they bought when XP was around and then they upgraded it to maybe Vista, but maybe 7, and then they've moved it up to 10. Like, how many iterations of the OS have been on there and without having to do a full reinstall? Like, it's amazing that you can essentially do that, go from one version to the next, to the next, to the next over that life cycle and still have a working machine.
Yeah, it's and again, that wasn't always the case either.
No.
So yeah, I know people that have had PCs for like 10 years and they're like running Windows 10 and it's
on 2 gigs of memory. And
it's crazy to think about.
Yep.
But our last story of the day is a Cyberpunk 2077 story, which we haven't talked about all that much. But if you remember, when it launched for PC, Xbox and PlayStation and different PlayStation versions. The game was so bad on PlayStation 4, it was basically unplayable. And if there's YouTube, like you can see it was just trash. It was so bad. And for that reason, Sony took the game off of the PlayStation Store completely. So you couldn't even buy it. That's how bad it was. But over the past basically 6 months, CD Projekt Red has worked on fixes and made the game at least playable, not great, but at least playable on PlayStation 4. So it's back on the store now. So I guess that's a pretty big deal for, I think, CD Projekt Red. I mean, people want easy access to the game. And if it's not on the store, you'd have to go get a physical copy. And not a lot of people want to do that. So they do say that the game is recommended to be run on the PlayStation 4 Pro, but it will run on PlayStation 4, so that's good. Obviously, they did enough for Sony to be like, yeah, we'll allow it back on the store. So yeah, good stuff. That reminds me of that Batman release. Remember the Batman release of like 4 years ago? Yeah, something like that. So that is it for news this week. Coming up next week, we were talking about Corsair. I'll be taking a look at one of their keyboards. It will be the K55 RGB Pro XT. Again, Corsair is getting out of control with these names. This is not a mechanical keyboard. This is like they're
mechanical or something.
Yeah, something like that. But it is a full-size keyboard, full wrist rest. Again, this is a very affordable keyboard, full-size keyboard with RGB lighting from Corsair for $69.99. I think you can find it cheaper on Amazon actually than here. Full multimedia controls. It is like it's spill proof and all that kind of stuff because you don't have the mechanical key switches in there. Looks pretty good. I will be testing it over this next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. And then I'll also be taking a look at some memory. And this is memory that I've actually wanted to take a look at for a while, because when I first saw it initially, I think this like 2 or 3 years ago, I was like, wow, like Thermaltake, like you're actually making memory. So I'll be taking a look at their Tough RAM XG RGB, a 16 gig kit running at 4,000 megahertz. And this is like basically like their second generation of their Tough RAM RGB. They're calling it XG RGB because it has a different look than their original Tough RAM RGB. So stay tuned.
It's kind of cool with that little cutout and the lower lighting section.
We'll see how that looks, obviously, when it's, because those are renders. So we'll see what it actually looks like in the review. So definitely stay tuned for that as well. And that brings us to the end here where we talk about anything tech related. Have you?
I actually did something tech related.
Yes. Tech.
I know. Was it Sunday? Yeah, Father's Day. I finally ran some networking, some Ethernet from the basement here across the between the floors to my utility room and then out into the garage, so I could finally get a camera out into my to the back of the house. And actually, I can do something real quick here. I'll pull this up. But no, that was like a long time coming. I had bought some new Ubiquity gear.
Yeah, you've been talking about that for a while.
I had bought this camera like over a year ago and had like tested it for 5 minutes, put it back in the box, and never did anything with it. So I finally got around to doing that. Let's see if I can pull this up here real quick. Go here. Oops. Let's just got someone racing outside your house, man.
Yeah, that's what you hear when you don't have NVIDIA broadcast on. So right in front of where I live, there's like a long stretch of road, and it's like the perfect size to race. And there's like never any like because this is all new construction. There's never any cops or anything over here, so people like just fly like out here. It's really not a big deal, but like sometimes like you'll hear people racing. It's kind of funny.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll just share this if you want to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll check out your backyard. We'll find out where you live.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So I've got that kind of pulled up. Yeah, it's the Ubiquity G3 Flex running, and this is 720. Oh, buffering. Why am I buffering?
Oh, you got to redo your stuff.
What's going on? Oh, I wonder why it's buffering.
Maybe it's
I haven't had to do that at all.
You're streaming right now.
Yeah, but like this is all local network stuff, so it shouldn't be. I'm gonna have to look into this.
It looks the interface looks cool to me. I haven't seen anything like that before.
Yeah, no, the interface for Unify on the Dream Machine Pro is pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Shows you a lot of cool info. So,
where's your grill at? I don't see a grill back there.
It's around like.
Oh, okay. I gotta make sure this guy got a nice little backyard setup. I had to have that grill going.
Yep. Nope. It's there.
All righty. Well, that will pretty much wrap it up for the podcast. Ryan, are you going to be gaming? I'm going to not game for the first hour, and then I'll probably jump on after that if you guys are still gaming. But Ryan will be jumping on to Twitch, twitch.tv/ThinkComputers. So definitely head on over there. He will get the stream up as soon as we jump off here. Again, thanks everybody for coming out for the live stream. If you're in here now, if you're listening later, we obviously appreciate you listening. And Kosher, man, thanks for the $20 donation. Good to have you back in the chat. We got to get more people in the live chat. It's definitely fun to have you guys in there and talk tech with us and everything like that. I also would, if you do enjoy our podcast, if you would review it on iTunes and all that kind of stuff, it definitely helps us out immensely. So if you could do that, we would appreciate it. But we will be back here next week. If you're not jumping over to Twitch, we will be back here next week with a ton more tech and some really cool stuff to talk about. So we will see everybody next week.